equity. That is the language they used yesterday while the program was going. They said equity and equality.
No, not equality. Equity
in focus, isn't it? And there's one other word again. See, one group of professionals or professors meet. You're not careful, they gamble with your brain and language, because they have studied deep to the extent that we that are coming up, if you are not careful, anything can happen. But we that doesn't know. I manage and try to get some of their words. These are professionals in the academic pursuit of life. Some of their fellows were inducted yesterday at the University of GOMBAWA, that is GMC-TV. There is no diversity when it comes to gender. And the word gender, in most cases, when you hear it, so many people change it to woman, folk. But the word gender is applicable professionally, like they said yesterday, to both a man and a woman. Until when that disparity is there, then that is when you say there is gender inequality, maybe to the woman or to the man. That is their subject matter yesterday. They said they need equity. They need justice. It has to be a balanced ratio to the man at the same time. That is all faces a ramification of life. I don't want to talk because I'm a professor. There are members in the professors and there are fellows at the same time there are professors. When you hear professor, the word professor, you must be a guru in a particular field of life before that title. But these days some professors are bought with money. I think so. I'm not really sure. Depending on the political terrain now, politicians know what they can do sometimes. But I want to believe this crop of personnels are really professionals in terms of discharging the subject admonition to balance life, not to segregate a woman with a man. And you know the economic situation sometimes, and even culture, you know, it will when it comes to division of activities, family, group. We are on to the State Media Corporation, GMC-TV. My name is Ibrahim. The program is Good Morning Gombe, Good Morning Our Nation. We need to do justice in the studio. On the program today is Moni Tibiana Mohana Kuri. She is the chairperson of yesterday's event that took place at Gombe State University. She is the organizing committee at the just concluded this and 10th International Conference in Gombe. State, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Gombe and Good Morning Our Nation. Mr. Dan is a public analyst. Has been doing all effort to see that he contributes his own quarter in the growth and development of this station at the same time. Mr. Dan, welcome to the program. Now, you said this is the 10th, or that was yesterday's event was the 10th of its kind. So what is GSAN? What does GSAN stand for, and how did it come about?
Thank you very much. My name is Fibiana Kuri. I'm a gender advocate with the Learning Foundation, the Gender Vulcan Integrity Voices for Gender Vulnerable. GSAN is part of my passion and an organization that I joined in Jos and brought it to Gombe State. The word GSAN, or the acronym GSAN, is Gender Association of Nigeria. And Gender Association of Nigeria capitalized on 3 E's. That is equal education, equal employment, and equal empowerment. By the use of the word gender, it means it is not just for the man or for the woman. It means both the male and the female are involved in this matter. Thank you very much.
Okay. You say it's the pen that was organized yesterday in Gombe. Now, where did this start? What is the origin, and how far did you come along to be the trend functioning, to execute the trend functioning?
The design started their conferences from the east, in government houses, in universities, and the 9th one was held in Jos here, and this is the 10th held in Gombe State. So it has been existing for over a decade now.
Is it a non-governmental organization?
Yes, it is a non-governmental organization and academic venture.
How did you come about coming together with this particular purpose? How do you recruit, how do you bring up members to be part of you?
We bring members through interaction with people that are passionate about gender, in conferences, when we meet with people that are interested, then we collect their numbers and add them to our WhatsApp group. And then we start telling them this is what we're doing and this is how they can come in. And that we have a WhatsApp group now for Gombe State chapter. And that is where we add people that are interested. And we also intend to have our Facebook account and the rest. We are just starting. We just brought it from Plateau to Gombe.
It's a good to know that we're talking about gender equality. In fact,
gender equity.
Gender equity.
You know, there is a difference between equality and equity. When you are talking about equality, it's just doing things on the same road at the same level.
Yeah.
But when you are talking about equity, you are not saying it has to be on the same level. We are saying it has to be based on your performance and ability.
Yes, that's right. Okay. Most times we've had this issue, seeing women at the weaker voices in the society, and because of that belief, because you're talking about equity right now, and because of that belief that women are a little bit the weaker is on the weaker side, you see that in some policies or some circumstances, the policies are being formulated to give the women softer landings than the men. For example, we have this issue of maternity leave after childbirth. How do you justify that based on your campaign of the gender equity thing?
I will still throw a question to you. What makes a human being weak? Is it the structure? Is it the ability or capability? What really makes somebody weak? And where did we get the concept of a woman being weak?
That is why I brought this up, because policy, like I said, government policies sometimes are being formulated towards that aspect, which I'm saying now, it is wrong based on your campaign. And am I right if I say it is wrong based on the campaign of your organization? Yeah, because you see, most times there are a lot of government policies. You do this somewhere, they say, leave leave that job, it's going to be for the women's folk, not for the men. Leave this for the men. You come to some function, they say, no, ladies first. I mean, does that affect what the organization is trying to achieve?
I would say categorically yes. In the sense that, we all have origins of our beliefs. And we all tend to, as human beings, believe that human beings were created. And if human beings were created and were created in the image of God, then the structuring activity, this work is for the man, this work is for the woman, is something made by us, human beings. that we say this sometimes is the question of misinterpretations. Because you can decide to interpret a word to the right or to the left. For instance, if you say a woman is a weaker vessel, then how comes a scripture is saying she is a helpmate? So if you need help, so are you the weaker one or you are the stronger one? So these are questions that we need to think about and consider. What makes somebody weak? What makes somebody strong? And that is why Gender Association of Nigeria is saying equity. It's like running a race.
Yeah.
You learn about the male and the female. Sometimes you see the woman will go first and leave the man. Sometimes you see the man will go first and leave the woman.
Recently, this issue of maternity leave also came up.
Yes.
After your wife gives birth, are you in service your organization also in line with that, fighting for that too? Because the policy came up sometimes, I don't know whether it has been implemented yet. There's advocacy for it.
Gender is not mostly about maternity leave. It's mostly about creating this equity awareness through publications. As he mentioned, it is good, although I'm not a professor, it is good for professors mostly that sit down, analyze issues that are emerging. Like during this past conference, the focus was on equity in focus, reimagining boy-child education through a gender-responsive lens. Professors double it in one way or the other, the way they see it. Personally, I look at it as something that has to do to show people the importance of equity for harmony and cordial living. Okay? Because as a boy is growing, from the age of 3 or so to 9, you will see he will begin to develop this mature idea. I'm a man. I shouldn't cry. I shouldn't show emotion. I shouldn't show that I'm weak because I'm a man. Like one of the professors mentioned yesterday, if a family gives birth to a girl, they give her a doll, baby doll to play with. If they give birth to a boy, they will buy gun for him.
On football.
So what are they training that child from the beginning? You are going to be a mother, and you are going to be shooting and maybe playing football. But you see, we need to, what this conference is saying, we need to raise these children with the concept that, as a man, it's okay to cry. It's okay to show emotion. Because when a man grows up feeling strong and not being able to show emotion, sometimes to be empathic and compassionate is difficult, and it becomes a problem to the society.
Maybe when he grows up and gets married, not being empathic.
Yes.
Yeah, that brings me to my next question. That is the example of doll and gun you just give. Most times when we give birth to children, at the tender age or at the puberty age, we start teaching our daughters. It's not allowed, don't allow somebody touching you at certain parts of your body and this and that and that. And mostly the boys are not taught that. Don't allow a woman touching you. They are not taught that. They are not taught. And it gets from that place, it also graduates into policy too. Most times we hear policies and punishment and law guidelines. Punishable offenses for rape, sex abuse, and we don't hear that from men. And men are being seduced too, even at places of work. Men facing sexual harassment too. Is your organization also in line with that fight or that play that?
Yes.
Men can be abused sexually or can be raped too.
Men can be abused. That is why it is gender. It's not just male or female. When we talk about gender, it's both male and female. So it's just not good for the boys, it's good for the gender. So men can also be sexually abused, women can be sexually abused. I don't know who abused the other more. I cannot debate that now. But men are also protected in this gender.
Policy. Fine, that was what I wanted.
Yes, it's not just about women.
Yeah, Fabiana, I don't know, for people that are not in the platform, maybe for some of the leaders that would like to be part of this association or organization, do you have any registration, like financial implication before one becomes a member, or you pick based on one CV, based on one knowledge?
Yes, when it comes to followership, we pick based on one's contribution to the community.
Okay.
And when it comes, if you are a humanitarian and you are known, people will know. You are known for making contribution to the development of your community.
Influential in your community.
Yes, so we pick. And then for membership, we have a WhatsApp platform. Anybody that, this is a digital world, and we connect in one way or the other. So if we know you are passionate about gender matter, we'll add you up to the WhatsApp. And then you make your commitment by paying 5,000 naira.
Monthly or yearly?
Yearly.
5,000 naira. Okay. I saw one time acting chief judge among those that Dr. Desiree Justice Beatrice and one of Dr. Gambo and other personnel. Now, what nurturing they want to like that they happen to be part of the professors and now they're inducted with a regalia and we're very much free.
If you look at the caliber of people inducted, you will see that we have their CV here.
Okay.
What they have achieved. Like Dr. Beatrice Lazarus Elia, she was one time chief judge. Now it is not a day work to even be considered as an acting chief judge. So she must have gone through so many contributions to the society at large before she was made acting chief judge in Gombe State. And that is why we recognize her. Not only her, the members to people. Now, like somebody that I have his resume here, this Dr. Christopher Hassan. If you read, you will see that he has been practicing for 15 years. He published 30 articles in peer review journal. In fact, anything that has to do with gender violence, he is there. So people like that, we call them and confer them to encourage them to know that what they are doing, people are seeing, and also to make them as example to others so that they too aspire to do as they have been doing.
You talked about equity. Basically in our African society, that word is very, very heavy. And you and I know that it's very, very difficult in our current society, based on religious stance and some socio-cultural stance, to bring that equity between a man and a woman. That you clearly know. So I want to know, is that creating any sort of difficulty at what you guys tend to achieve sometimes?
You see, that is the struggle, because the question of equity is something that is very difficult to achieve, as you said, because there has been so many traditions and stereotypes for decades. In fact, if you go to the Bible, you see women are not mentioned. They are not mentioned, and it has been like that from Genesis. You because it was the woman that carried apple and gave the man. So don't trust the woman again.
Thank God for saying that. You are saying that you are really.
That's why
The genesis of calamity are things.
That's why I told her that was equity.
When it did something, it now transferred to all the women. Is it all the women that are giving apple now?
No, not all.
Men suffers.
There are some good few.
And just as there are some men that are good,
There are some men suffer men suffers in that aspect too. Let me give us an example. I have an emergency case. Maybe I'm almost collapsing. Sometimes you go to where people are supposed to queue up before you get attention towards the woman. My case sometimes will be very, very much serious. You come to certain place to join night. But as you're coming, you go and sweating temperature. But you see now, so I can say, don't matter if she don't come. Let the woman go in first. And I don't know what is happening to that guy. To the man.
Yeah.
Don't like what she said that men cry at times, but they are not allowed to cry out because you'll be dying inside silently. So that's what
that's some of the challenges that we are trying to create awareness, and that is where we are saying we should start from the boy child. We should start like us. We are facing out. Now we want to leave something for the generation that is coming behind us. Their publications, because they say knowledge is power. When a child reads it and understands that, look, it's okay for a boy to cry. It is okay for a boy to show emotions. You will grow with that understanding. So we are losing so many men. Yes. We just sit down and connect.
Yes.
Because he has buckled a note in his heart in the name of
basically we have more widows in our society than widows.
Because of that.
Based on statistics.
Yes.
And let me tell you one story that happened to me one time in the hospital. I went to make some checkups, some tests on my systems. While we're on the queue trying to see the doctor, there are preliminaries, majors in change. They take your VP and vital signs before seeing the doctor. The woman that I was following, that was the queue, was pregnant. She was so tired and weak. She wanted to sleep, but because of the chair now, when I discovered that she was gradually trying to get her. When she lied down, she was about to lie down, then she slipped from the chair. And when the plastic is more or less an aluminum chair, and then she fell down. If you come and pick her now, I have to use my. Then there's some nurses. Now that when the time they came, my sister and I took her. Then I went to see, I said, attend to this lady before she finally. That was when we had helped her. Then, because I was the one that picked her up and hold her, I don't even know that way, was just what I did. Then I used that advantage to bypass some of the whole of the person that I employed them with. They took my own people. They said my own case is worse than the worst thing to me that was the worst. They said I can die with the level of your baby at that time.
But because you are a man and men don't cry,
I'm in jail. I like those ones. That is the pain you know you always having. The body was high for
we are saying you are a man, you teach your children it's okay to cry. Sometimes you don't have to cry in public. It's okay to find a place and really cry it out. And it is okay to show your vulnerability as a man. Like now you went to the hospital. He is having his own sickness, but he is the one that is suffering. And confirm he would have been in a worse situation. Because he is a man. You understand? So we need to relax and say you are a human being, you have feelings, and it's a shared emotion.
But what is your level of advocacy with the government so that you can influence certain policies? Are you people at that level who would advocate with the government to influence some of these policies towards achieving that equity you guys are out for?
Yes, through publications. And as I'm telling you, we just I just brought this into the just this year. some will be influenced, some will even take a step to do something as we are discussing now that will affect government as well.
What is your target? What do you totally intend to achieve by the end of the day?
What we want to achieve is equal education, equal employment, and equal empowerment.
The three is.
Yes.
We want to get the same media corporation, GMC-TV. The program is Good Morning Nigeria, Good Morning Hour, and very soon. We'll be right back after this time out.